This site has got a real positive vibe to it. Well, this mud hole, or as we loving it referred to as a tar pit, is what's remaining from the huge rain that we had the other night. Beautiful sight, beautiful day. I feel lucky today. All right, Monday, September 8th. Just came to the entry point. I did this entry point last year, though this year I'm going to take a different route. It's entry point 50, and I want to go all the way down to Frost Lake and also Long Island Lake. So let's get everything unloaded and get going. One of the nice features of this this path I'm taking, or this entry point, got a bunch of steps coming down, and you've got the most excellent staging area. Most excellent. And then we're going to be heading off, up, and around to the first portage. All right, on the water about 11:05. There's two trumpeter swans right there feeding. I left Duluth at shortly after 6 and trying to get off of Park Point. I got bridged by a 1,000-foot freighter, so I lost almost a half an hour there. So all right, let's get the show on the road. Well, 5 minutes later, first portage. And a little babbling brook. All right, let's figure out how to get out of the boat. Walking back to get the boat. Yeah, I think this is the longest portage of today, if memory serves. Oh gosh, it's like 66 rods. And this wasn't here last year. No, I spent almost the same time last year, some time on Snipe Lake. Man, it was just gorgeous, but it was too hot. It's been dry, and the trail conditions, portage conditions, are totally different this year because we've had a lot of rain and muck and down trees. Down trees. All right, let's pay attention to what I'm doing here. Well, after another short paddle, it's another portage. And the next lake will be Ham Lake. Still technically not in the boundary waters yet. Isn't that beautiful? Well, I'm on Ham Lake. Pretty rock formations. And there's supposed to be a site right on that point, right out there. But I'm gonna still keep my fingers crossed for Cross Bay. So one more portage. I remember this from last year. This is a thigh buster, but I think it's like 24 rods up and over into Cross Bay. And last year when I came here, all the campsites were full on Cross Bay, so I went over and I grabbed the one right over there. Right, let's go to Cross Bay. All right, I'm up to the top. All that paddling and portaging so far. There's the boundary water sign. Now I'm planning going to be entering the boundary water canoe area proper. All right, let's grunt. All right, I found a home. First campsite after portaging from Ham Lake into Cross Bay. It's up on a high knoll. It's on the west side of the lake. They're talking about thunderstorm, so I wanted to get to a site and get buttoned up pretty good because I'm sleeping on the ground. So I got to figure that whole thing out. A little bit tricky getting the gear up here, but we made it happen. A lot of people heading out, but they said the other campsite that I wanted, a group was heading to it, so I grabbed this. It's about 2 o'clock. I got some work cut out for me, so let me get some chores done. Well, I'm trying to get organized. I did check the weather and they're calling for thunderstorms. So what I wanted to do is underneath my little Durston tent, I wanted to build an awning so I can sit underneath there if I got to cook and have dinner. And I'm just trying to button up the site, prep everything I can in case I got to make a mad dash under the tarp. There's not much else to do. I got to flip the boat over. But yeah, it's noisy. Look at this. Let me show you this. I think I read about this on the BWCAW.com, where you can do campsite reviews and such. Look at the fallen tree over the John. That's going to be an interesting sit tomorrow. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's thundering. So let me get stuff buttoned up. Perfect timing. Just got everything under my little makeshift shelter here. And it's about, what, 4:15. Hopefully this will move through pretty rapidly like it sometimes does up here in the boundary waters. And all I can do now is just sit back and stay dry. Good morning. Tuesday, September 9th. Can you say wet? Can you say mosquito pee wet? Man, I didn't film much last night because I just didn't have the chance. I was in frantic mode. Where I last left off, it was just beginning to thunderstorm. Well, it thunderstormed and it thunderstormed for a good long period. And what happened is my perfect little campsite tent pad turned into a lake. I was literally sitting in about 1 inch of water. And thank God I got a double floor on that, so that didn't get wet. So I picked up the tent and moved it here. And then put the tarp back there. And just spent most of the evening underneath there just completely drenched with my Gore-Tex on and running out and doing the duties I have to do at night and preparing the tent. And grateful for dry bags. So crawled in the tent, got into nice dry sleeping clothes and a nice dry fluffy down bag and slept until about 8 o'clock in the morning. Now just checked the weather radio, and for what they're saying, it's going to be like this till about noon and burn off and just be cloudy. Sunny tomorrow and more thunderstorms are on the way, so I got to think about this trip. But the most important thing I want to do now is just get enough sun to start drying out some gear. Thank God my sleeping gear is completely bone dry. That's the most important thing. So we'll figure it out while I drink some coffee. Now I could be very unpleasant, but I could load everything up soaking wet and move to a different site, which again is supposed to thunderstorm tonight. And speaking of thunderstorms, that one that came through last night, it was just unrelenting. Usually they come through in waves and they'll pound and then they'll clear up. But this went on and on and on and on. And it was really loud under the tarp and in the swimming pool. So what I don't know is, again, usually I sleep in my Una, so I'm up off the ground, so I'm always dry. I'm dry underneath. This sleeps comfortably. This sleeps fairly level, and it drains. So if we do get another thunderstorm, I'm not going to worry about a lake building up underneath here. So I'm going to probably spend the day drying things the best I possibly can, and just tidying up. It's wet. This is probably the wettest trip I've ever had. Even when I think back to June of last year, where that huge straight line winds came through, and we had trees come down in the camp, which is always fun. That was called riding a storm out. I've never had one that's just been this wet. Wet! It's flipping wet! Alright, it's starting to clear up a little bit. Let's just sit tight. There are two campsites on Cross Bay Lake. This is the northernmost one, and the closest portage would be the portage into Ham Lake. It's kind of pretty. It's got a steep up to get up here. Boat storage isn't all that great, but let me show you a tip. If you come to this campsite and it's forecasting rain, use a hammock. Because every single tent pad, when I was out just kind of looking what's going on, when I had my Gore-Tex on and the pouring rain, this was a swamp, absolute swamp. There's one back here, minimalist one. It's kind of rooty. Yeah, that would make not a very nice pad. It's all lumpy. But any one of the pads here that's on bare dirt turns into a lake in a rain shower. The water just runs right down here. Even a little bit up here by the fire grate where I thought originally to put my tent. Again, hard packed ground, but just the water wouldn't penetrate. It's looking very promising to be able to utilize that wood tonight. Weather radio says it's supposed to be cloudy like this, but sunny tomorrow. The air is pretty dry. So I've actually laid out more stuff just to dry out. You know, I'm really contemplating, I'd like to go out in the canoe and paddle around, but I don't trust the weather. We actually have some sunshine. Woo, doggies. Well, I think you made the right call. It's lightening up, even have a little bit of blue sky in patches. What a crazy day. Not how I like spend my days up here, which is just cleaning up after a mega storm and drying everything out, but it turned out to be fruitful. What a beautiful evening. I'm having my typical burritos. Got the fire all ready. The day worked out okay. A little iffy there at first, but it worked out okay. Dinner done, packs on, everything's pretty well cleared up, cleaned up. Got stuff here for my nightly fire. Man, what a difference 24 hours makes. Last night about this time I was sitting under the tarp watching the water rise around my tent in all my full regalia, my rain pants, rain jacket, and then making the frantic decision to move the tent. It's all worth it for an evening like this. On to an inReach and then a fire. Good morning. Beautiful sunrise. I do like eastern facing sites because I do get a sunrise, and I did get a pretty heavy condensation inside of the tent last night, so I have to dry everything out. Wow, 8 o'clock in the morning, perfect boundary water morning. Well, this is the reason why I like eastern facing campsites. Because last night when I went to bed, put out the fire, soaked it, stirred it, soaked it, stirred it. You could actually see the dew in the air. Hence, on an eastern facing site, you can get up and lay everything out. Because being down there with all the vegetation, it was moist. I mean, I slept warm, I slept like a baby, but it was really wet when I got up. A lot of condensation. So now I get to sit back at 8 o'clock in the morning and enjoy my coffee. All packed up from this campsite, and we're gonna head that way down Cross Bay Lake, and don't know where I'm gonna end up. But here's the most bizarre thing I've ever found at a campsite. Someone had taken and driven a tent peg, a DAC tent peg, into this tree right here. I don't know if they're using it to hang a pack or something, so I snapped it off and I'm going to take it with me. Craziness, absolute craziness. All right. One more camp inspection and then off to the boat. Well, this is really interesting. I'm down to the portage to Rib Lake, and there's another campsite on this lake. It's on the west side, so I'll get nighttime sun, no morning sun. And it used to be 2 campsites pretty close together, and I'm in the abandoned one. So let's walk back to the real one. I tried to get this site last year when I came out of Snipe Lake, my Snipe Lake loop. And a couple people in their videos commented to me, if you ever get a chance to stay at the site, do it. It's spectacular. And it pretty much is. Only negative, it's on the west side. We're not calling for rain, so I'll just have to deal with the dew in the morning. Okay, so we're walking up to the live one. Beautiful sand beach. Easy in, easy out. But here's the campsite, and it's open. Still, what time is it? About 11 o'clock. But this site's got personality. I got to give you that. Huge personality. Still a little bit moist, but look at this. Look at the rock. How's this for a pontification point at night? So I think I'm going to do something. I'm not going to travel very far with the load. I'm going to unload. God, this is just drop dead gorgeous. And the portage into Rib is right down there, and you can hear the waterfall. We'll have to go check that out. So I think, since it's before noon, I'm going to just bring my gear up, claim the site, go down, check out the waterfall, maybe even portage over to Rib, give this campsite a chance to air out. There's a okay tent pad here. Concerns me, you can see water. You can see water draining down to it. Yeah, nice little pad here. Look at this rock ledge. This campsite almost reminds me of the one I stayed at on Big Moose Lake. Man, if you want to camp without stakes, look at this dance floor. We got a grassy area here. Yeah, I think I'm going to claim this. All right, let's go unload the boat and maybe do some cruising. This is just spectacular. Their recommendations were spot on. Thank you. I'm excited. Oh boy. Magnificent. That's going as far as you feel comfortable going. That's why I come here, for sites like that. Okay, ahead on the right are 2 points. There used to be 2 campsites there, and they closed the one on the point closest to us, and just have the one on the left open. And it sure looks like the little sand beach in between the 2 served both of the campsites. So I think I'm gonna go back. I'm getting a little hungry. Grab a bite to eat and really take some time to set up camp, because the weather all looks great. Tomorrow I'll get up early and do a big day trip down through Rib Lake and maybe down to George. But in order to do that, I want to make sure we got everything buttoned up in camp. And with the landing so easy, I mean, it's easy. Did I say it's easy? Yeah, it's easy. I'm going to go out and do some fishing tonight. This site has got a real positive vibe to it. Real positive vibe. Or the other one, it had an okay vibe, but not as good as this one. And there's the campsite on the left. And there's 2 landings here. Which one did I use last time? I used that one right there, straight ahead. I mean, these are sweet landings. Just sweet. Nice sandy beach. Coast in. All right, Wednesday lunch. I make these things up ahead of time. And what do we have in here? Probably it's one of my favorite meals. Tortilla. Compostable spoon made out of bamboo. Let that sit right there for now. Ah, my new favorite flavor. Ginger sesame chunk light tuna. Chunk light tuna. And I put a piece of tape on the back of these things, just makes it easier to fit in these little baggies. Then the last 2 remaining ingredients: pickle relish from Sam's and Miracle Whip from Super One, both in Duluth. So what I do, I pop open the package. Save that for the garbage. Take my spoon, my bamboo recyclable, compostable spoon, even though I do pack it out, and kind of fluff up the tuna. Take my Miracle Whip. There's the notch. There's the notch. You know, mosquitoes aren't bad this trip. They haven't been bad all year. But I'm still compelled to wear my sun shirt that's been treated with Parenthian. Get that bag back. Then we add the pickle relish. Mix that in. Now, tortilla shells are optional, but the thing I like about the tortilla shells is the tuna packet alone is only 80 calories. That's not many calories. So to boost it up, I get regular strength, not low carb tortilla shells. Because that's 140 calories of goodness. All right. I just mix and mix and mix. Mix and mix and mix. I'm really digging this campsite. Really enjoying this campsite. Never thought I would paddle so short of a distance just to get a different campsite. But it's worth every penny of time. Oh, look at that. Just glop it on the tortilla. Sorry, it's hidden in my crotch. Ah. Get all that goodness off of there. The nice thing about packing it this way, if I want to go off on a day trip, I just throw one in my small pack, in my day tripping pack. And I got a complete lunch on the go. This goes in the small baggie. Then it'll find its way to the large trash bag. So like the artist I am, I work the palette and just blend everything in and make sure it's in the right place. And then roll, 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 and feast. And it's satisfying. So you have what, 80 and 40, so you got what, 220 calories. I'll follow that up with a handful of gorp. Don't want to leave anything on the spoon. And then here, I've got my liquid IV to make sure my electrolytes stay up to par. So that's Wednesday's lunch. Beautiful sight, beautiful day. I feel lucky today. No wonder I'm guzzling water like a crazy man while chopping wood. I think I got enough for tonight. I checked the temp, and it claims in the sun it's 84 degrees. Whew. I think I got the wood done. Got the tent hitting back there. Make sure everything's nice and dry. Yeah, I gotta blow up the mattress and install it on the big Agnes and relax and still drink water. So this is a top lure. I'm assuming the bottom's mud. What I will do in a second is get in the boat and go fish at the waterfall. Let's see if we get lucky. Pretty shallow here, so I don't know. I'm gonna try that little tool and put it there. Oh, instant snag. Well, tried all different kinds of lures. This lake isn't particularly well known for fishing. So I think I'm gonna go back and get cleaned up. And think about dinner. Yeah. Do something about dinner. And here's walking up to camp. And one thing I always do when I go out away from camp, whether it's for a short fishing jaunt like this or a day, they always hang my pack. Anything with a food smell in it gets hung in the pack. I've got not all the way up, but the barrel bags right there. There's critters. There's critters that like to chew. All right, let's get cleaned up. I'm getting a little hungry. Camp is pretty well set up. Hey there, I'm fresh. New clothes, no hoodie, no mosquitoes. This trip has taken quite a turn for the better. The first night when I got here, and I'm trying out a new tent for the first time, made a mistake where I placed it and basically ended up flooded out. So in the midst of the storm, I had to move the tent, move the tarp, blah, 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 blah. Next day, dry it out. And then this day happens, and I get this campsite. I really, truly feel grateful. So let's see what's in the bag for dinner tonight. I had eggs extraordinaire for breakfast. And then I had my tuna fish on a tortilla. And I don't know what I'm feeling like right now. Don't know if I'm hungry or if I'm not. So let's dig in the bag of goodies, of wonder. I wonder what I'm going to pull out. Here's dinner. I'm not in the mood to cook really hard. A medium load of calories would be nice. Let's see, I got basically two choices. I know I'm going to be traveling tomorrow. So let's see what we got here. This one is single wild mushroom Alfredo. I've had that before. That's really good. The calorie count on that is 220. We add this, it's 70. Okay. And what do we got here? I always kind of tape these up to save space. Single basil parmesan noodles. Calories 220. I haven't had basil. I'm doing basil tonight. All right. Let me get back to cooking. Firewood. Beautiful evening. They say on the inReach and also on the weather radio that no rain tonight, so it's going to be a good night, and I'm really looking forward to it. Basil parm. Yum. It's going to be delicious. Just like the sunset. All right, here's the sunset. And right there is a soloist that just went by. And he's going to try to make it to snipe. And it's not that far away, but there's a little channel he's got to go through, and then pretty rugged portage. So I did offer, I said, if you're not feeling comfortable, come on back here. I got room for you here. That's the right thing to do. Just wrapping it up. Did some reading. But interesting. I guess I was meant to be here. I just got the R, but no W. Just the right size fire. Logs will last a long time. Got my little light. So, talk to you tomorrow. Morning. Just about 8 o'clock. Beautiful day so far. The dew was so thick last night. I don't know why. The footbox of my sleeping bag is damp. Not the rest of it. And I sleep, you know, in the middle of it in the fetal position. I'll have to look into that. Maybe I go with the regular inner and not the complete solid. But I slept warm, toasty warm. All right, let's get some coffee going. I need my coffee. Breakfast. Little granola with powdered milk. Another shot of coffee. And the view. Woo, doggies. All right. Let's see what time it is. A couple guys went through and said their site's open. It's 11:30. Their site's open on Ham Lake. I think I'm going to go grab one of those. I really wish I could stay here another night, but what they're predicting Friday night, well, I confirmed it both with the weather radio and the inReach. I did a premium weather update. And starting tomorrow, there's a 30% chance of rain starting about 9 o'clock in the morning, 30%. And it goes all the way up to 90% tomorrow night, all night. Thunderstorms, strong gusty winds. And I'm not interested in that. So my idea is just to get a site, get set up, enjoy the rest of the day, have a fire, go to bed early, and just boogie out of here first thing in the morning. First I gotta swap out the battery on this. Does it get any nicer than this? Not a cloud in the sky, wind at my back. There's the slough that you take to go to Snipe Lake, but I'm going down here to Ham. All right, this is kind of a boulder field that we're going to go through here. And there's many, many of them that are just under the surface. A lot of them you can see scrapes and scratches from boats being run up on them. So we're going to take this one to the left. Just take it slow. It's just so serene back here. All right. Yeah, this Cross Bay Lake, where it starts, is like a little river, and it turns, it meanders, and the trick I always do is I watch the vegetation, which way the vegetation is flowing. If vegetation is not flowing, I'm not on the right area. It's standing straight up. Okay, you can see a couple little eddies up here. Bunch of the crocodile rocks just beneath the surface. Oh, we're going over a great big one right now. Ooh, boy, that was close. All right, I think that's the worst of it. All right, let's get down to the portage. All right, found the portage. You can hear the waterfalls that are down on my right. This portage kind of reminds me of a boat ramp. Looks like a boat ramp. Portage into Ham Lake. It's nice and gravelly. All right. Let's grunt. Well, here's the campsite on Ham, that I'm on Ham Lake, that I stayed at last year when I came out of my Snipe Lake loop. I'm having a hard time finding a tent pad that's level. Now, down here last year is where I had my Una up. But if I were to pitch my tent here and it were to rain, I'd be in a lake again. I just might take a quick, I can find something here to make it work, but it's only 1 o'clock. I got time. So I might run down to the first campsite. You know, what about this? I could set up here. It's on grass. That would work. I got such a small pitch. Head here. Sleep this way. I might go back to that other campsite. I always keep this in my back pocket. Good memories here for a quick night. Waterfall right there. It was not running or flowing that heavily last year when I was here. Just beautiful. Pretty, no? Well, I'm at the campsite that started the Ham Lake fire. I'm just reading the part in the book where he lights the match and he brought a bunch of newspaper. He threw the newspaper in and it swirled around and over there and just set everything ablaze. So since I'm reading the book, I think it's only apropos that I stay here for one quick night, and that'll save me probably about a 20-25 minute paddle out in the morning down the lake. And this is the entry point into Ham Lake, and I can be the ugly troll and charge some tolls to get through here. Haha. Now I just got to find a place to put the tent that won't get flooded out if it rains. I only need to learn that lesson once. All right, got camp set up. Trying to minimize the amount of gear I bring out. Down here is where I've got the tent. Trying something different. It's been so humid in the morning, and the dew point has just been saturating everything. I want to set it up next to the lake and hopefully get a good cross ventilation. This is a really unique design tent. Again, it's a little cottage gentleman, Dan Durston, out of, I think he's by Banff, Canada. What makes this so unique, it's a perfect rectangle, yet what he's done, if you notice, the way it's pitched at an angle, I mean, it's angled here. So instead of sleeping straight, you're actually sleeping at an angle, which gives you much more length, and then it gives you a vestibule on this side and a vestibule on that side. Some other cool little features is he's even incorporated a zipper barn here. And you notice there's no flaps here. It's got a waterproof zipper instead. The other thing I've always found irritating is toggles. So what he's used for toggles are magnets. So you roll everything up, then you just magnet. Just open it up here so you can peek in here. You're sleeping at an angle. Let's see, there's your angle. And that's a 25-inch wide pad, 78 inches long. It fits in there. I got room, a couple inches on each side. It's an interesting design. So when I want to go backpacking, I now have a backpacking tent. Another clever little feature that he's done is on the zipper bottoms, to take the strain off the zippers, he actually has a little clamp here, a little release. So there's no strain on the zipper when you open it and close it. Neat design. And I forgot one very, very important feature. It's a trekking pole tent, but I chose to buy the poles, the carbon fiber poles, because they were only like 70 bucks for a pair of them, and they packed down 12 inches. But the most interesting thing about this tent that I like is when you set it up all together. So it's not like a traditional tent where first you set up the body and then you put the tarp on it. You can set this up in the pouring rain and nothing's going to get wet on the inside. Hence, when I had to move it on Monday, I just picked the whole thing up and planted it, staked it, and nothing got wet on the inside. Cool. 3:30. Left camp at about 11 on Cross Bay Lake, that beautiful site. Came here, got things set up. I'm not going to unpack much tonight because, well, I'm going to check the weather, because if it's going to be raining like 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm going out wet. So the least stuff I got to pack up, the better. So off to read more chapters in the book on the 2007 Ham Lake fire that started right there. Pretty tame. Gotta watch out for these guys. Just a light dinner. Really not that hungry, so I'll eat some gorp. And of course the Spam sandwich. Then have my fire. Send my satellite text home. And just relax. Well, this campsite's just littered with mice. And also a little chipmunk that doesn't seem to be afraid of people. And that's a picture-perfect bear bag hang. And chewing a little rodent hang. Alright. Pretty nondescript night. Winding down. See you in the morning. Good morning. Gonna be a wet exit. Tear down inside the tent. Let's get done. Yeah, just about 8 o'clock in the morning. Weatherman was right. Had a little rain. Not much. Just kind of gray. It feels like a fall day, even though it's only September 12th. But the clouds are pretty high, and I can see some clearing. Oh, I was able to deflate my sleeping mat and roll it up and roll up my sleeping bag inside the tent, which was pretty cool for such a small tent. I got the water on for coffee. Let's get coffee. All right, what time is it here? 9 o'clock. I'm all packed up. Got the tent dried off as best I could and packed it away. Then had a quick little rain. Now it stopped again. I did use the latrine, which is way up the hill, but nice. I don't think the site gets used that much because it wasn't very full. So I just did my last sweep, deciding whether to put on my rain jacket or not, or have it close at hand. And I'm pretty well packed up. My small little fire last night, which went on way too long. I was listening to a book on tape, and man, next thing I know, it was, you know, well past bedtime. Well past bedtime. But it's just something relaxing about sitting out by a fire and nurturing it and just enjoying it. All right, 2 portages to the car, drop off the paddle at Rocky Wood. Then head down to Trail Center, pick up some food for the next trip, the next big guy trip, which is, I think, in a week and a half. So, yeah, busy. And then get back to Duluth in dry gear. Interesting trip. Started off wet, and it's ending a little bit wet. All right, let's get on the water. Loaded up. And again, it's just amazing to see the snags, which are these old burnt trees from the May 2007 fire that started at this campsite. Right down the little channel here. 2 lakes, 2 portages to the car. Just in case, I got my rain jacket tethered right there in place. Don't think I'm going to need it, but you never know. No, let's go. Well, about a 3-minute paddle. The portage is right there. but it's calm. It's calm. Let's portage. The Ham Lake exit portage is still holding on to a lot of the water from Monday. So we have a couple areas that we lovingly call tar pits. And here's one of them right here. Whoa! Wait, you just gotta suck it up. Just watch your footing. It's wet. All right, off to the boat. All right, make my way to the final portage. And I gotta tell you, it is humid out. I mean, I'm sweating, and I'm just wearing my sun shirt and my personal flotation device, life jacket. All right, let's go find the portage. It's the final portage with 3 trees across it. How fun! It's the final portage. All right, final 66 rod with 3 down trees and some pretty big steps is done. And getting in the boat is pretty precarious back there. All right, let's boogie. Alrighty, back at the landing. Alrighty, another trip in the books. I believe I have one coming up in 2 weeks. It's the annual guide trip. We're going in just an easy jaunt into Parrot Lake via Hog Creek and do some fishing and just relaxing for 4 nights. So that'll be nice, not having to pack and repack and move all the time. So let's see what other adventures I can get into today. When I'm up on the Gunflint, I always got to stop at a trail center, pick up more supplies. I really like the one called the red quinoa with wild mushrooms, and the lady who makes the stuff said, "Oh, we're out of it. Oh, I'll just run in here, whip you up to them." So she went and she made me 2, and I got a bunch of other stuff. So all right, let's head down to drop off the boat next. All right, heading back to Duluth. The big lake, she's got some fog.
Love Animate. Offers Getty, unequivocally. I think it's one of the great songs we've done.
Going through Canal Park, heading home. Heading home. Going across the lift bridge. Yeehaw! Go home, sort gear, dry gear, and start prepping for the next trip. Till next time.